more because they're coming all from all over the world really to play. So yeah, it's a bit frustrating, but hopefully the next game it'll gel a bit more as well. So
our next fixture up in the 2015 GFI Hong Kong Football Club Tens sees the Devil's Advocate Silver Dragons taking on the French development team. I'm Jed Thine, joined alongside by Craig Hammond as we bring you the commentary both online through YouTube and of course on of the start of the Hong Kong Sevens week. Really one of the jewels in the crown, the GFI Football Club Tens, is the French development team. So a nice period of play there, take the ball from the kick-off smartly back into the half of the and now up to the F22 line, and they don't look like any show of stopping soon. The run around, they found the space and in they go. Hamo, how do you call that?
Yeah, mate, that's just pretty good rugby, ain't it? But again, that's 5-6 phases and you're going to break that defence down. So, you know, they've just gone width to width and, you know, throwing the ball around and, you know, break down wise. They kept it and they had it pretty quick. So, you know, it goes to show if you can keep phases, you're in good shape.
Well, we know the Silver Dragons have got some stick in them when you take it up the middle at them, but there's been a few teams that when the midfield players come on, a couple of dummy runners, and all of a sudden they're made to look very fragile. The conversion unsuccessful, but the French development team out to a 5-0 start.
That's just the quick boys picking on the front row boys in the midfield, mate, ain't it?
Shouldn't be allowed, mate. It's wrong.
I agree, mate. Look after each other.
The restart from the French development team is taken beautifully by Belloc. And then they fire it wide again, and the French development team looking for more space if they can find it. They might have a slight channel out there if they can get the wheels, and they do through Critchley. And it just shows a clean pair of heels, and well, the French development team making it fairly easy, but maybe the Silver Dragons perhaps looking a wee bit tired to boot. Mind you, they are sponsored by the Devil's Advocate. It's a hell of a place to go.
I agree.
That's good wheels, though.
This probably suits these guys, don't it? They like to throw the ball around, and you know, you see then they're keeping away from contact, and it's nice and simple, just draw and pass them.
So at 12 points to nil, the kick was, the conversion was successful, and we restart again from the French development team who nudge it down, and immediately on Belloc makes a big tackle from the kick-off, and the Silver Dragons are forced to try and take them on up front. The quality of the ball disrupted. How important to get on the front foot in this particular format.
Mate, if the big thing is, it's very much like sevens in regards to you keep the ball, you're in good shape. So set piece here, and you know that's the big thing about, you know, if you win your own scrums and lineouts and, you know, keep that ball for a couple of phases and build them, you're in good shape. So we'll see how they go at the scrum.
Comments from the Hong Kong Scottish coach here in Hong Kong, Craig Hammond, and the French development team taking the advantage there. Maybe the Silver Dragons trying to back off that scrum, the old-fashioned push you, pull me. As we come past 3.5 minutes in this first half, 12-0 they lead the French development team. They look fairly happy with things. You can tell it's a merry dance up front. There's very few front rowers there by the look of those feet. Tight forwards are non-existent at the moment. So the French, they skirt across the dummy round. They're dragging them in. There was too much space and too much pace.
That's the thing, mate. These boys can shift, can't they? Some of these French lads. So a couple of quick boys out wide, and it's nice and easy.
Well, they've spotted the threads, and it just held to just dump the old heels on the Silver Dragon defence. And they've used the ball nicely, the French development team, as they tear away to a 19-0 lead. And as Hamo said, they can shift. And barely a hand laid on them. Number 4, Renaud Chavanese. restart is high, wide and handsome, and it's brought down by the Silver Dragons, and this is about as far out of their own 22 as they've ever been so far in this game. And it looks like the French development team have got them held up there. No, they don't. Well, they could venture to where no Silver Dragon team's gone so far today, as they send the ball down range and onto the roof and to the start of the 2200 metres here at the Happy Valley track. The French development team mark up. The Devil's Advocate Silver Dragons are...
I think the boys are starting to look a bit tired, aren't they? Getting to that line out.
There's a bit of air moving around over there. If the chests are anything to go by, the bellies are starting to move pretty big too.
Well, that's, mate, they haven't had the ball for 5.5 minutes, have they? So, it's pretty easy to attack, but when you've got to defend in your own line for, 5.5 minutes or whatever, it's a pretty tough day at the office.
So the French development team in a defending position. The Silver Dragons will be hoping they can just keep this platform steady enough to get rid of it. And the caller's hot ball, and the heat comes on straight away from the French development team, and referees must be pretty clued up on his French, because he's heard something there he doesn't like.
I think we had him before, and we struggle with a few of his calls, mate. So, and I usually get along pretty well with refs, Jed. So.
Well, I mean, it's been noted. Yeah, mate. True, you're a statesman of the game, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I've been asked to go for a few referee courses myself, but we'll see.
So, the French development team willing to keep the ball moving. Packed in pretty closely around that breakdown area, the Silver Dragons, and they've got plenty of numbers out wide, France, if they want to go there. And they've got space. And they are a bit of a worry when they decide to go. The Silver Dragons have got to get over there and cover them off if they can. And the French development team end up losing the ball into touch on the far side, but it's probably an indication of guys who are tired and a defensive pattern that's not working, Hemo.
Yeah, I think they're just struggling a little bit when they get out wide, and you don't know whether to stay tight against these boys or try to push them out to the sideline, because you give them the sideline, it just shows then they'll get on the edge here. So you start thinking about what way am I defending, and everything seems to go wrong all at once, mate.
So now they're Devil's Advocate Silver Dragons from the restart. Shift the ball fairly smartly into midfield. But 8 metres inside their own half.
You look there and, the Devils team's got about 6 in the break, having to commit a lot of numbers to try and get that ball, but it's just it's not working for them.
The French, it's not going to hand for them. If it had, they've let one go begging there. I'm pretty sure the Silver Dragons now are starting to think, wonder if we can put 5 more guys on this paddock.
We have 2 minutes remaining in the first half, just under 2 minutes now. The French development.
That's where the old, a lot of the good teams, their whole bench, they can bring on, and they're as equally team. Maybe some of these other teams haven't got quite that firepower on that bench, so it gets very tactical when you're trying to figure out who you can bring on and off, and when boys are getting tired in this league, you get shown up pretty quick. So we'll see how they use their bench shortly.
Craig Hammond, co-analyst, in the hot seat with me today, as the Silver Dragons look to break out from their own quarter inside the final 90 seconds of the first half. 19-0, the French development team are leading, as the Silver Dragons forced to commit more people over the ball, gives them less attacking options, and gives the French development team.
If you look at how the old French team's defending, they're trying to wrap the ball up, so they're trying to keep the guy up, and that's why the Devils team is having to fire a lot of people in the breakdown, because the guys are getting held up and can't get to ground. So it's quite a good tactic from the French development team, and it's paying off.
So generous kick down range takes the pressure off the Silver Dragon try line for the moment anyway, and some changes being made as some tired lungs leave the pitch for the Devil's Advocate Silver Dragons. And we'll see if that can help them lift the tempo at any point. It can't, it doesn't. And now the French development side almost break away with it. Referee brings them back. Reset on the halfway line. 20 metres in. As we get ready to close down the final moments of this particular fixture. Number 16.
That's when the backs hate the forwards there, mate, when we can't even give them bloody clean ball.
Well, it wouldn't be the only time, Camo.
I agree,
Certainly
mate.
won't be the last.
I agree. Can't win, can we?
So waiting for a scrum restart. There's Bullock, the number 7 for the French team. Oh no, excuse me. No. Silver Dragons trying their very best.
And that knock on
Generates
the first half.
Play that goes behind the defensive line of the French development team, but to no avail. And they hit the half-time break 19-0 in arrears. And Hamo, it's a demanding tournament. Talk about recovery now for your team between now and tomorrow morning.
Oh yeah, we've got one more game later on against Samurai, which will be the big one for us. The hard thing is now, the boys have had 2 games and they've got another 3.5 hours off till the next game. And it's been a pretty long day. You've been here since about 11 o'clock. So, there's a pool upstairs and the boys can do a bit of recovery, but it's a bit chilly out there, so they're not too keen on that, mate. There's ice baths over in the corner, but again, I don't know how keen they are on that. So we've just got to look after them now, and it's a big game for us next. Going into that Samurai game, and a good opportunity to try, you win that, you top your pool, so it's a good bit of confidence going into it after a couple of wins, hard-fought wins, but we'll see how we go. So.
What do you try to do? You keep them away from the food, or you throw it into them as soon as they come off the back of it and hope they don't go again?
Oh, mate, a lot of these guys, were up there before and they all wanted the buffet, and I was like, there's no way we're getting the buffet, mate, because if I give you the buffet and you get into desserts and coffees, and Lex and Sarah and those boys will be asleep by the pool, mate, so I kind of put a bit of restriction on that, but I've lost half my team now, so they could be up at the buffet, mate. I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, he's an expert at man management, Craig Hammond.
I just know what I was like, mate, so, pure athlete.
So, the atmosphere building up nicely here at the Hong Kong Football Club. Opening day of the 2015 GFI Hong Kong Football Club Tens. Jed Thine here, joined alongside me by Craig Hammond. And as we get ready for the second half action between the Devil's Advocate Silver Dragons, wearing the silver, and this team on your screen right now, the French development side.
That's the thing. I'm sure the half-time chat from the Devil Advocate team would be, they just need to keep some ball and build some phases. They coughed it up every 1 or 2 phases and just give the ball back to the quick boys out in the French team. So it'll be a big focus now. And winning those kickoffs again is a big part of the game. So straight into defence.
So the French development team, ball in hand, and look at the power and the strength and the elusiveness already starting to show as a few fresh legs hit the ground running for the French development team, and they pressure on and they power through almost to the line, the French development team. And don't score here, the French development team. You'd have to wonder why. There must be a hoodoo on the line on that side, and they go again and they take the direct route. The desperation defence by the Silver Dragons, and they're poked in. There'll be 2 or 3 passes here and they'll find themselves in a lot of trouble. They take the aerial route, and I guess that's well executed at the end of the day, as the French development team go par avant.
For that, mate, that comes down to that kickoff, ain't it? You stuff up the kickoff straight away, and then you give the ball back to these boys in 4 phases. Later, they're under the stick, so that set piece is massive, whether it's scrum, line out, or kickoff. It's if you can't win that, it's a tough day at the office.
24. The kick comes in. It's not very good. In fact, you'd call that unsuccessful. 24-zip, the French development team now over the Devil's Advocate Silver Dragons, as they open up the scoring fairly early in the first half. 1:35, in fact, gone as they dotted that one down, and there's the restart from France. The Silver Dragons have to come out of their own quarter one more time, and that just doesn't help when the passes don't go to hand. No real reason for the French development team to push the tempo here. They've got the game in control. And certainly the most powerful in their form in the opening part of the second half is impressive. Silver Dragons finding it tough to match up. So they wait for the start. Down the back. Mechanical like, and they switch it off the back and into the strong ball carry. And now they just ram it straight up the guts.
He's a tough boy, the number 11, ain't he? He can carry.
You go low or you die on him, I think that's the call. And the French development team, they're in the hunt again. There he is again, our man,
Right
number 11.
And the referee awards that barging try to the French development team.
It'll take them out to 29 points to 0. Assistance from behind. One-man defender still.
The good thing here, the French team, even though they're kind of up, they're still sticking to their structures, and they're a little still, they're not trying to get too loose, and they're not trying to play it too. Like sevens are actually staying to their game plan, and they're getting over the gain line, and after that 2 or 3 phases, that's when their ball's getting shifted. So
get at the basics first. They got the and from that it all flowed. And so the French development team can restart, move out with 31 points to 0 over the Devil Road. And one try, you will find Devil's Advocate. You may not be able to get into it, but you'll find it.
I was going to say it's a busy time of the year, mate, but it's always busy down there, isn't it, mate? So
there are some places I've been known to help them out.
of course you have, Jude.
Colin, it's been an agreeable day though. Yeah.
Last year I think it rained. The second day it was bloody sunburn, a lot of the boys, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
The Dragons on the rack here as they use width, although they've the Silver Dragons will league won't be long before someone on the Silver Dragon team decides that the best and smartest get down the field. Five in this French side. Themselves a fairly looking. Some good sized units in there on the Silver Dragons. For them up front and giving them no option. But other than too much power.
Like you said though, mate, they're doing all the basics right, and again, Devil's ball then, and then they just get turned over. So back to the French team, and we'll see how we go.
Chance, look at that. They walk it off the ball. Good front foot ball for the French development side. Good set phase defence though. Good shape from the Silver Dragons, but it starts to crumble and fall apart, and lost behind is the call, and that's a turnover for the Silver Dragons.
That's the frustrating thing though, mate, in this. It's only a one-on-one little miss and you're in trouble. Some teams are playing with the sweeper and they've got someone back there. A lot of teams, they got 10 flat up in a line, and you're just relying on the guy next to you making your tackles. So one little slip and it's you get yourself in a bit of trouble.
The cool wind blows across the Happy Valley, and
Yeah, I'll need a heater up here soon, Jed, mate, or what?
well, I might have to go for the second lane. Be the tub. I'm
Jesus.
not happy about it. At least it's going to keep my milkshake cold.
I was going to say, mate, is that a hot chocolate, mate, or what?
So the restart will be in the middle of the pitch. It's a deadly attack point for the French team. Silver Dragons, defensive line spread 2 on 2 either side of the pitch. And the French side Not showing their hand yet. And they've got pretty good pace on this side of the pitch as we look at. They come towards us, in fact. Well, that might be a headless chicken play if you ask me, because the Silver Dragons have come away with it. I'm not too sure if anyone knew what was going on there. The French development team really making the most of that opportunity.
See, the frustrating thing is, look, you got 4, 5, 6 people in that breakdown, and we've got 3 guys out wide. So, you know, it's and you've got a French line flying like that at you. So, no, a bit of credit though. They've got through that first line.
The Silver Dragons bring it up to halfway, and then they spread it out towards the far side. Half taken, but fully taken, and they go on with it. Silver Dragons now stride up towards the 22, 5 in from the far touch. As they get their noses over the ball, they try and turn it over, but the French slow it down enough to get themselves back in shape. And now they just have to grind it out. They look for some play out wide. They're good attacking on the line. French just seem a bit disinterested at the moment. They stood off and lost forward in the tackle. And
that's probably the Devils' best phase, though, isn't it? They've probably gone up from the 22 and they've gone 4 or 5 phases and got behind the French team. So, yeah, good bit of play from them then. Coming a bit late, though, isn't it?
I suppose the flag's gone up from the French coach. You might as well put the clutch in, boys, and sit up.
Not a bad shout, is it, mate? 31-0 down with a minute to go.
And it's just under a minute remaining in this match. French development team
So
leading
we look for a
13-1.
restart now. Inside the final 60 seconds, the French development team, a classy effort over 20 minutes to take them through to a 31-0 situation over the Devil's Advocate Silver
And for
Dragons.
those of you just arriving, welcome to the GFI
And they
Hong Kong Football Club.
Feed it,
Tens
so the French
2015.
development team will probably look for one last hurrah as they lose the ball down, but not back when it went backwards. Was the advantage being played though?
Just lost a bit of shape the last probably 3 or 4 minutes from the French team, where they, like you said, they've taken the foot off the throat, and you know they've thrown a few balls to the ground. They've knocked on a bit of ball as well. So
The Silver Dragons looking for an opportunity, and they just move up and calmly make their tackles.
loves the penalty, this guy, mate.
Might have one of those nasty arm injuries where you can only really hold it out straight. I've heard that happening before.
Oh, mate.
Of referee arthritis. So now, the Silver Dragons mustering. That doesn't help.
What's the long
And
foot
we'll see points here because they're closing in fast on it. The French keep it on the foot, looking for Zinedine Zidane to come across and help him. At some point, somebody decides that I might as well pick the ball up and score the points, and they take the bonus try at the bottom, at the end of the game to take them through to 36 points to 0. The kick to come should make it 38. It's a fairly rudimentary act. The referee calls time over, and that's it for the Devil's Advocate.